Hi, it's Martin here. I wanted to talk about strategy in the future. The future is very important because it's where we're going to spend the rest of our lives, but it's yet unwritten. And I wanted to develop an approach to strategy that could not only accommodate and embrace uncertainty, but turn it to advantage. So I've created some slides and I'm going to talk through an explanation of this. So let me share my screen with you and let's see how it goes. Okay, present. Hopefully you can see the future on screen, this wonderful pair of tracks that you just have to hop on and chug along into the sunrise. That's the way many strategies see the future, as a nice deterministic plan, simple. But we know that the future is not quite like that. There's at least more than one path, if not many and many. In fact, if talking about a rail network, maybe it's better to talk about a network, in fact, of many options and possibilities. Each one of those tracks can, of course, be subject to chance events and environmental changes that can disrupt your journey, especially if you've only got one track into the future. So that pair of tracks is probably the view in the rear view mirror. All it can do really is to tell you how you got to where you were, because you can trace your path back quite straightforward. But looking forward, that's just not possible, because the present is where the tracks end. The future is really unwritten, it's untracked at the moment. And maybe a train is not the right analogy for talking about the future. Because where we're going, there are no roads. So if the future's so wicked and vaka, volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous, and wicked problems are those that are not amenable to simple, we might call rational, analytical, deductionist thinking, but need more holistic types of approaches. What role for strategy in such an uncertain future? Maybe a new approach is needed instead of a pair of train tracks and that kind of analogy. Maybe exploration into the unknown, the mindset of the explorer. So in that, it's a strategy as a preparation rather than as a plan to take advantage of chance events. Louis Pasteur should know, and so many scientists have in fact taken advantage of chance events to discover new things. It's the strategy should be able to not only see options, but generate them and have the mindset, especially the mindset to recognize the possibilities that exist from those options. Again, strategy is exploration and experimentation. It's an adaptation to events as they unfold and activities that you create. Things don't always work, but when they do, well, celebrate them, share them, and innovate on them, and build on them. Strategy, most of all, for a learning culture. I've deliberately said learning culture because culture needs to be learned. It needs to be dynamic. It's not really just one thing. And so if we can't predict the future, we can at least try to invent it by rummaging around in the possibilities and working together to build and innovate on those possibilities. Because culture is so important. It eats strategy for breakfast. A good strategy, if you have a good strategy without culture, can be neutralized by a poor culture or the wrong type of culture. Whereas a good culture or the right type of culture can make even a poor strategy successful. But we must recognize that monoculture is a danger in itself. Diversity matters. It's a kind of basic evolutionary genetic kind of requirement that outliers matter and must network for survival. So yeah, learning culture is about experimentation, remixing things, evolving things. It's about communicating, sharing, collaborating. And thus I couldn't resist the little Lego birds and bees down in the bottom right hand side there. if the future is unwritten, it's got multiple different ways that it could unfold, multiple different directions, is it wise that we all face the same way? Strategy should embrace serendipity and take advantage of it. Again, Louis Pasteur obviously knew about this, and chance favours the prepared mind, but Stephen Johnson developed that in his presentations about innovation, and saying that chance favours the connected mind. A major part of learning culture is the sharing and communication of ideas. Strategy, well, you could regard strategy, as many people do, as a means to an end. You define where you want to go and then plan how you're going to get there. But in a sense, you could regard strategy as the beginning of the journey. You describe where you want to start, actually, and it evolves from there. So I wanted to sort of develop strategy as a start, as a beginning, rather than as an end. A big part of this was to try and do strategy in a new form, in the spirit in which it was talking. Instead, if the future is not a single track into the future, and it is in fact more like a network, then strategy should itself not really be a kind of linear plan, especially one of these bookish, huge, detailed planning document. I want you to involve, a community of people in this. I have to thank Dominic Norris, who shared his strategy with me. As you can see, just in the on the right-hand side there, United Learning: A Vision for Technology. Dominic Norris is the IT director for the United Learning group of schools, about 50 schools across the UK, and he developed a new approach to learning. As you'll see in the next slide, that the development of this strategy was itself from a culture of communication. I found this on Twitter via Steve Wheeler, who tweeted about Dominic Norris's blog post about digital vision. So I clicked the link, read his blog about digital vision, and I should just read that out. A key paragraph in there was, I tried to keep it as visual and non-wordy as possible. So there is a fighting chance that people will actually look at it. It's here if you're interested. So I clicked the link and found Dominic's strategy presented as a Prezi. It's perfect format for me for what I was looking for. So from Dominic's Prezi, visual, multimedia, non-linear type of strategy form, I created the IT strategy for a learning culture. You can see the link down on the bottom left-hand side. You can see the format of it. It doesn't look like a long, traditional strategy document. It's got lots of videos and keywords, and it can be navigated through in any particular way you like. It's online, it's open as well. So this itself can be subject to learning culture. It can be copied, remixed, and mashed up in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully in the next video, I will describe a little bit more about that strategy. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall develop this idea. It is an ongoing kind of idea about strategy. It's not finished yet, and hopefully it itself can evolve. So, okay, goodbye.